Welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast, the show by fans for fans of your Milwaukee Brewers.
All right, Brewer fans, welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast, number 153, I believe. This is Craig, and joining me tonight is Scott. How's it going, bud?
Hey, it's going. I don't even know what the number is when I put these together. It's either 152 or 153. I don't know. They'll figure it out. It'll say right in the title.
All right. Well, Vince is not able to join us tonight because he actually attended I think at least 3 Milwaukee Brewer home games this last the first homestand of the season. 2 of them I was in attendance with him, so they won both the ones I attended with him. I think they lost the stupid St. Louis Cardinals on another one, but we did split that series with the Cardinals, and we ended up getting back to 500 after that long kind of a stumble out of the gate, so to speak. And then we took the first 2 games of the Pirates series as of this taping, so we're a couple games over 500. I think we're going to stay on that sunny side of 500 as we move toward our championship season here. What are your thoughts on the last week of Milwaukee Brewers baseball, Scott?
Let's see, the last week. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm a little disappointed with a split with the Cardinals, but beating up on the Orioles and the Pirates is nice. That's what you're supposed to do. But when you have a team at home like the Cardinals, you want to be able to take 3 out of 4 from them. And unfortunately, we didn't quite get it done. But it's been a wild week. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, so far in the season, Cardinals and Cubs were 3 and 4, unfortunately, and therefore, I think we have some work to do with the roster as we move forward. I think that the point we're going to keep hammering home in most of these podcasts, or I don't want our listeners to be sick of hearing it, but really, our offense has a lot of question marks. I guess the one takeaway I've got from this opening week that I think is a huge positive is I really believe that Christian Yelach has made some adjustments to swing and his ability to bounce back nearly to his old form, probably not all the way to MVP level form, but I think that he'll do much, much better than he has either the last 2 seasons. He had a big grand slam the other evening when I was at the game on Monday night against the Pirates. So, I mean, he's elevating the ball a little bit more. His exit velocities are up. And I think confidence is kind of a key in this. And I think once he gets that fully back, I think that he will really be a huge bat that we desperately need in that 3-hole in the lineup. And then beyond that, I think, there'll be some more offense that we need to address as we move throughout the season via trade or whatnot. But there's some encouraging signs there that maybe the Brewers can scratch enough runs with their great pitching staff to be able to still procure some really nice wins for the Brewers.
Yeah, let's hope so. It's basically been Yelach and I guess Rowdy a little bit. Are you a little bit concerned yet? We're 12 games into the year? I forget now, but we still don't have anyone with multiple home runs yet. That's kind of an issue. And normally you'd think, well, that's okay as long as people are hitting, but they're not really either. So I don't know. I'm starting to get a little concerned. I know we're only 12 games into the year, but our offense has been pretty bad now for over 2 years. So I think that's kind of where, fans are probably getting a little bit more anxious, especially when you see that, we have probably, again, the best Brewer pitching staff of all time. So, to see us not really, taking full advantage of that, especially while these guys are young, controllable, and cheap. I don't know. It's a little frustrating, but I don't know. What are you going to do?
Yeah, and I mean, we did touch base a little bit on the lack of power overall in this Brewer lineup. I mean, for the better part of the last 15 seasons, It seems like most MLB regulars have like 25 plus home run power. And I think that the Brewers didn't even have we talked about they didn't even have a 30 home run hitter last year. And it certainly looks like we're trending in that direction once again. So it's a little bit concerning. And also, I think we should point out that the Brewers through 12 games have not scored more than 6 runs in a game, and somehow still, I think where are we 7-5 now, something like that. So, that's I don't know how long that's going to hold up, but like you did mention, we do have a pretty miraculous bullpen and an awesome rotation. A few things there. I mean, Devin Williams looks either borderline unhittable or not able to control the strike zone at all, and it's been pretty wild to the point that he hasn't been able to get the job done completely as an 8th inning setup man so far. So there's a little bit of concern there, but I have faith he'll figure it out. Trevor Gott looks like a nice bullpen addition and someone that could be trusted in late inning situations. So that's, maybe he's this year's Brad Boxberger, even though we have last year's Brad Boxberger still on the team. So I think our bullpen's, a strength for sure. Obviously, Hader looks awesome, and Boxberger and the rest look great too. So, I mean, the other Castanheira has had limited at bats, but I really feel he hasn't shown that he's, likely to possibly become another regular again. Perhaps he can stick around as a platoon partner, but with the rosters going from 28 back to 26 starting May 1st, I think that he may be heading back to the minor leagues. Obviously, it's a little bit premature, as you guys we're probably posting this on 4/20, but so he's got 10 more days to get some at bats in. But I just feel that he needs regular at bats somewhere, probably back at the minor league level, to get back on track. And then he does have options, so I think that's where he'll be headed. So it's a little bit disappointing, but in his stead, I think that we can cover first base with obviously Tellez, and then Mike Brussow, I think can handle some first base action once Luis Urias is back from injury. And again, that's a guy that you pegged as, your Brewer hitter of the year for this year in your predictions. So getting him back will kind of be a shot in the arm for the offense too, because he really does have some power and some ways to get on base. So I think he'll be a nice addition, a shot in the arm to this lineup, hopefully, and get us over that 6-run hump, so to speak.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Right now, I don't know. I mean, the offense, I don't want to harp on them too bad, but I think right now we're about 24th, 25th in the league. And if you had to guess all of the teams that are beneath us offensively, they're all terrible teams. Probably almost every single one of them is predicted to finish at the bottom of their division. So, that makes it a little bit disappointing. But I guess we know that this offense is not going to be, let's say the Brewers play decent, make the playoffs. This isn't going to be our playoff lineup. You know what I mean? We're going to make plenty of moves between now and then. I'm sure we're going to change a couple bats. So, let's not, sky's not falling. 7-5 is just fine. I'm happy with where we are.
Yeah. And I think we will add some players via trade during the season. So we'll have that look forward to, plugging the possible holes we have. But it should be pointed out that last year's payroll, the Brewers had both Avisal Garcia and Jackie Bradley Jr. making right around $10 million each. So I think collectively they made over $20 million last year. And then this year they've been replaced with an $8.5 million Andrew McCutchen, and I think in arbitration, Hunter Renfroe makes $7.6 million or something like that. So overall, they saved about $4 or $5 million in our outfield there. And so we're also, we spend the money. Well, obviously we brought Boxberger back and a bunch of other of our younger guys, they're arbitration eligible. We got a little bit of raises, or sometime, even like Hader got a pretty significant raise. So that's where kind of some of that money went. But it really just feels that perhaps last year's payroll is kind of our cap of where we were looking to start off this season too. And I do have faith that the Brewers have the ability to add payroll, and our owner will allow us to do that depending on where we're at the trade deadline. But I mean, I guess it's a smart way to manage your team and your money, and to not put all your money in at the beginning of the season. And then, if you have to add to it, depending on where you're at, you can do that. So we'll see how that plays out. But I'm a little bit disappointed that, and we've already touched on this, that the Brewers couldn't have. I don't know. I just feel like Hunter Renfroe, I hope I'll come around on him, but I really feel that we could have done better than him in that spot. I mean, there was a lot of guys out there in free agency. They would have taken longer term commitments. The thing with Hunter, he's arbitration eligible, I think, at least one more year. And he, so that way you have cost control over him. He's going to make a little bit more than he made this year if you want to keep him. You also had the option to not even offer him a contract, which, as we already know, the Rays did just a few years ago, and then, they DFA'd him. But I hope he comes around. We really just need power production out of him, and I think he has that, especially hopefully at home. But overall, I'm just a little bit disappointed that we couldn't have. I don't know. I'm almost thinking that if the lockout didn't happen this offseason, and that perhaps we wouldn't have made that last minute move to get Renfroe. But then again, we wouldn't have gotten rid of Jackie Bradley Jr.'s contract, which would have been an issue too, as part of that same deal. So I guess it is what it is, and we'll see moving forward. But this pitching staff is definitely something to be excited about. And as we saw, Corbin Burns, after that rough first start, he's really looked like his Cy Young self. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely looking good. And I guess to circle back to Renfroe a little bit, it's pretty obvious that the Brewers are definitely, valuing defense a little bit more. And Renfroe plays, I think he's very average when it comes to range and fielding, but the guy's got an absolute cannon. So, it's fun to watch. But for example, the Brewers game today, the Pittsburgh Pirates did not hit a ball. They did not have a fly ball out the entire game. So, if you have a guy like Renfroe in your outfield, great. But, in this day and age, there's just less balls in play, and it just means a little bit less. So a lot of that defense is, it's great to have it, I guess, but at the same time, it's not as valuable as it once was. But the Brewers obviously still find a lot of value in it. So I guess we'll have to trust the process and go along with it, at least for now.
Yeah, and I mean, the Brewers, all their stars look capable of striking out almost like a batter or more an inning, outside of probably Hauser or whatever. So, I mean, the strikeouts and our bullpen obviously has got a great strikeout potential. So a lot of our outs will come via strikeout. It really feels, and that's just the way of the league, in this day of high spin rate or whatever you want to call it. I mean, obviously the MLB did crack down on this of substances when it comes to creating that spin rate, supposedly during the rule changes last year and over this last offseason, but it sure doesn't seem like it's really affected the pitchers that were having success before that as the rules got into place. So either, I'm not sure if that was really the culprit for these strikeouts. I really just think that the hitters maybe, aren't stressing contact as much as they once were. I mean, it's more, trying to hit for doubles and home runs and stuff like that in this day and game. And it's not so much about moving guys over or hitting the other direction, all that stuff, how it used to be back in the 80s and even 90s. So different game today, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, as far as this, obviously we usually do the predicting the week thing, but we're already 2 games of this week. But this coming weekend, we've got 3 games against the Philadelphia Phillies after our last home game tomorrow afternoon. We're taping this Wednesday, the 19th. And the Phillies so far, I mean, they really restacked their offense, but their pitching has been pretty bad so far. I'm excited about this upcoming series. It's kind of a good litmus test for the Brewers. on a team that I think is pretty much almost at their level. And so maybe bring in some nice road wins this weekend will be good. And we even have a Sunday night game this coming Sunday, which is kind of exciting. So yeah, I guess we're already 2-0 on this weekend's Pirates. I guess without Vince here, do you want to throw out your prediction for the rest of the week, Scott?
So we're just doing what, 4 games? Or
4 games, whatever.
I guess 2-2.
I
don't know.
I'll just be optimistic
like
and
to
go.
think that we'd win.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go 3-1. I think we'll take 2 from the Phillies in the last game against the Pirates, but it's probably wishful thinking. But no, I think another guy I just want to point out that throwing a couple of nice, really good games, and one of them I was on attendance just on Monday here of this week was Eric Lauer. He obviously was really, really stepped up last year for us, and he really seems to be on track again this year. I think he's a really quality number 4 or 5 star where we've got him. And Aaron Ashby also has looked pretty good in his start. So I heard that we're going to skip his start this week in Philadelphia. So I don't know if, just depending on it, I know we have an off day on Thursday, and that's probably the reason why we're skipping his start. And that might be something we do when we don't have an off day during the week, that we throw him in as a starter. Then if we do, we'll skip his spot, or maybe we'll pick someone else to skip. I don't know, but it's kind of nice to have that depth, but also to get him the experience as a starter, because I really do think that that's his long-term position, and I think he'll help it be a darn good one at that.
Yeah, he's got really good stuff, and he's just strikes out so many people. I mean, obviously it's a common trend between him and the other elite Brewer pitchers that we have. Obviously it's a completely different era and stuff, but like these guys are like, their strikeouts for 9 innings are just absolutely through the roof. And it's definitely fun to watch. I'll say that.
Yeah. So, I mean, our pitching staff is really going to be our strength of our team. We knew that going in, and our bullpen with Hader at the back of it is, again, just like bar none's got to be one of the best in baseball. So when you have the best rotation, the best bullpen, and you just need your offense apparently to score 5 or 6 runs a game to get the wins. And that's what our offense, for the most part, has been doing in the 7 wins that we do have so far. So, I mean, if we can have that same recipe for success, that's great. Now we are in a division that has really 3 rebuilding-ish teams. When you look at the Pirates, the Reds, who have definitely gone into a rebuild, and the Cubs, who are kind of just trying to come back from a really big sell-off last year. I really feel like, there's a lot of teams to whip up on in our division. And so I that's why I really think the games against the Cardinals this year are going to be the most pivotal. And to start off 2-2 is a little bit disappointing at home, but I mean, I really feel as like this team will get stronger as the year goes on, and hopefully that'll be the case. I really feel strongly that the Brewers have the best team in the NL Central, and I expect this to end the season in first place. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's kind of disappointing about how they're saying next year that we're going to have less games within the division. Obviously, that means that for the Brewers, odds are we're going to have a tougher schedule than we will this year. Even though, well, like you said, the Cubs, I don't know, it's a pretty fast rebuild. Like they haven't just completely sold off everybody and tanked everything. Like they did a decent job of like at least putting what could very well wind up being like a 500 or slightly better team. If they don't sell off again at the deadline, which they very well might. But I guess we'll see. Having said that, the Reds are they're in tough shape right now. They sold off a lot of key pieces, and I wouldn't be surprised if their rebuild takes them a few years. And the Pirates, I don't know what the Pirates are ever doing. I feel like they, for the last like 20 years, they've been rebuilding for about 18 of them. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I wish we had those divisional games next year so we could beat up on them again and get some extra wins. But I guess it's not meant to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the thing about the playoff format that's changed this year is the top 2 division winners out of each league, which actually get first round buys, which I think would be really huge. So, I mean, obviously you look at the NL, like the Dodgers are probably a shoo-in for one of those 2. So I really feel that the Brewers, this could really, really be the Brewers' year, and where they make a deep postseason run. But I think by getting that one of those 2 division winning buys out of the first round would be huge, because I don't like that part of the format where if you're not one of the top 2 division winners, you got to win a 3-game series against an opponent that's just maybe one tier down of your talent level. And as we know in baseball, 3-game series, you can lose those and if you're ball club at any time. I mean, it's just, so I don't like that part of the new playoff format, but I'd really like the Brewers to avoid it all possible this year. But there's some teams that are definitely looking strong out of the gate. The one team that stands out to me really, I guess, is the Mets. Even without Jacob deGrom, they've definitely retooled their entire offense, which looks pretty potent. And then obviously with Scherzer and acquiring Chris Bassett is probably one of the most underrated, ridiculous moves of the offseason, in my opinion. And then they've got a pretty solid back of the bullpen too. And then even rookies like Tyler McGill is actually doing pretty good too. So, I mean, they worry me a little bit, but then you got the Braves in that division. So anyway, we'll see how this plays out throughout the course of the season, but I really want the Brewers to, try to procure one of those buys by the time the season ends. But I guess we just have to focus on winning the division and then go from there, I suppose. But
yeah, I mean, on one hand, you're going to have more time to rest and get healthy, which, is nice in any sport when you have a bye like that. So that definitely helps. You also, get maybe a little extra time to scout your next opponent. Like, even if you don't know who it is, who's obviously out there. So it gives you a little bit more time to, research and strategize and all that. But the other part of it, I guess, is that people are always worried that coming off a bye like that your team could come out flat because they haven't played ball in like a week or something like that. So, you can practice and hit the cages all you want, but it's not quite the same as the real thing. So hopefully we'll get the bye anyway. I still think that the positives outweigh the negatives there, but I don't know. It's just one of those things that we always talk about, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Let's just get the bye first.
Hell, hopefully the Brewers cross that bridge when they get there. But anyway, it should be an interesting season, that's for sure. I know the fans were all up for opening day and are pretty fired up about this season. And the weather in the Milwaukee has not been the greatest, but I know that warmer weather is on its way. So we'll have that to look forward to. And better Brewer baseball is on the way as well, I truly believe. So, all right, I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in for another Milwaukee Brewers podcast. I'm sure Vince will be back for our next one. And thanks for joining me, Scott. And I don't know if you have anything else you need to add.
I guess I'm supposed to go stay classy and go Brewers. Oh, and then I'm supposed to go
That works.